I think I'm recording. Yes, I'm recording. Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chat with Nat. This is a new episode of my podcast. I hope you are willing to sit with me here and listen a little bit of like my unsolicited is the word? Like my not asked advice, which by the way, disclaimer, I am not a professional. I'm not a professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not literally like I haven't studied psychology, so I just like give you advice based on things that have happened in my life, and I think that maybe can be helpful and probably things that I would have liked to listen to before existing in life. Okay. So welcome. um and in today's episode we're gonna talk about breakups, and I'm gonna talk about it because as I'm going through one, I mean it's already more than a month, but I feel like I really need to get things out of my chest. I feel like literally in the previous episode, first of all, for the ones who watched the episode, because I know that I will have just like I will have listening like version of this, like just like a Spotify thingy, but also a YouTube part, like a YouTube video of this podcast. And for the ones who saw me, I'm so sorry for my teeth. I like literally didn't notice that I did my makeup and I had a lot of like here like lipstick. It's so embarrassing, but like the episode I liked it. It was like I was like talking a lot in this episode and I just loved it. So I will just I just posted it, so it's fine. Okay? It's fine. But whatever. Thank you so much for being here. First of all, how are you doing? I hope great. Right now it's super warm. I love the summer. But like I'm super warm. And the problem is that here in Germany we don't have ACs, so literally you burn. And I'm really thinking maybe I should buy an AC, or at least like a fan, because for real, like every day I die when we reach 35 or something, and the other time, yeah, that we reached like 30, it was 35 or 34 or something like this. I was literally melting, and I'm someone who does not like, I swear to God, like I don't sweat that much. Like I have to be dying on the workout in order to be sweating, so imagine how bad it was. So yeah, now actually I'm thinking that I should buy an AC or something. But anyways, the topic of today: breakups. Well, as I've been saying in the previous episodes, I'm going through a breakup. Actually, it's not that I'm going through a breakup. I'm getting over a breakup, or at least I'm like experiencing the process of breaking up. Um, for already more than a month, and even though compared to the first weeks, I'm much more better actually, which surprises me for many reasons, but I think I've learned a lot in this month. And even though it's still like the beginning of the roller coaster of a breakup, I feel like for real I've learned a lot. And I would like to share I would say like my discoveries, or like the things that I've noticed experiencing this breakup. And one of the main things that I realized, not only because of therapy and what my therapist told me, but because I literally explored my memories. Like I just got inside of my brain and said like, okay, we're gonna find the reason of these, you know what I'm saying? um I realized that the reason of the breakup, it's always at the beginning of the relationship. Like if you explore every single relationship you've had, I'm talking about romantic relationships, by the way, but if you go to every single romantic relationship you've had, and you go to the beginning of those, like how you started dating, things that were said in the dating phase, and all that, you realize, okay, this was very clear that it would like end up like this. And thinking about it just, I mean, of course, I want to disclaim, we cannot control what will happen, because we don't have control over the future, over other people, over external factors. Okay, let's make that clear, by the way. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a hint, or like there are not like more probability or possibilities when a certain situation is very clear at the beginning of the dating phase, and you just don't want to see it. I don't know if I just explained myself right, but I'm gonna give you an example. So we're gonna talk, let's say, about commitment, okay? Because I think it's one of them, the main reasons of many bad parts of breaking up, like cheating and stuff like this. It comes with commitment, and if, for example, at the beginning of a relationship, the other person just wants to go with the flow. They say like, let's see how things work, and they are not intentional. Like they are not purposely, like they don't are not purposely driven. They are not have like clarity on what they are looking for when they are dating. Most probably they won't have it clear in the next months, years of your life. I'm not saying with this that it's like what always happens. I mean, like there's always an exception to the rule, but majority of time, and because we are humans who tend to act in patterns and in very very similar ways that we are like a species, so because of that, majority of time, based on how the relationship started, you will know why at the end of the relationship it won't work out. And it's crazy because it has happened to my last breakup. Like, I was not putting a weight on the fact that since the beginning, like, the other person was not like intentional, or was not like as committed as I was. I just like brush it off. I assumed that because I started saying like, look, if you don't want commitment, then I can leave and I can find someone who wants commitment. And because this person accepted this, I assumed that the commitment was there, but it was actually not. It was never there. It was more of like a don't leave me, and I do it. Like, I do it so you don't leave me, but it's not that I really want it. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen so many videos because, once you go through a breakup, it's crazy the amount of things you like watch online. Like, your algorithm, like everything just turns into crazy breakup stuff things. Like your TikTok, your Instagram, they are full of why they break up with you, the type of person this person was, like the attachment style they had, like this is the way that they react, how men should date, how women should date, like feminine side, masculine side, and like so many things, and psychology things as well, that it actually, like, of course, is a lot of information that just comes into you, and it kind of like things that you can relate to, things that you can cry about, things that has happened to you actually in a very similar way, but also things that make you realize, you know what, besides the therapy sessions that I'm going through, it actually makes so much sense. And I feel like literally the fact that I went back in my memories once I saw this, because I saw this video, and it was from a psychologist, and the psychologist said literally like what I just said, like the reason of the breakup, it's in the beginning of the relationship. And I just went back to the beginning of the relationship that I had with this person, and it was exactly the reason why it didn't work out. And at the beginning, when I was being broken up with, I couldn't like understand what was going on. But then when I was in my alone time and dealing with grief and like hurt and like the normal phases that you go when you are going through a breakup, actually, I realized how the answer was always there. Always. And it's just crazy to me how we sometimes don't realize that, because we are so like we are so willing to feel loved, and we are so willing to like experience loving as well, especially if we're someone who like in the previous episode I said, especially if we're someone who feels so much, like we're so willing to feel, we're so willing to give, we're so willing to love, that we forget completely that sometimes like it's okay to give, but not to anyone, and I was just like thinking about that, and then I thought also about my other like situationships that I've had, or relationships, I mean like the other relationships that I've had through my life in the romantic side, like in the dating scenario. And most of the times the answer has always been there. like always been there. And I just didn't know why those things happened or why it ended up the way that it did. But it makes so much sense when you analyze it and see if this person, like, from the beginning shows you they are not as purposely driven as you. Most probably it won't work out. And with this, it doesn't have necessarily to mean that the other person is a bad person. It doesn't necessarily mean that the other person intentionally wanted to hurt you, but you're simply not aligned. And sometimes, even though the chemistry can be amazing with someone, even though like there's a lot of love involved, even though like there are so many things that can make you think that you can work out and actually you start focusing on the potential, if the base of what you're like setting your relationship is not clear, in my case, for example, the example that I gave you, commitment, then like sooner than later it won't work out. And I was just thinking about that because I'm going through a breakup, but the only thing that I would have liked to is that I knew this before it happened to me. You know, the thing is that, for example, that after the breakup, also when you get this spam of like content, this spam, literally like this spam of videos and pictures and content that you see online on social media, literally like all of these things, and I check the comments and everyone is literally saying like, why didn't I see this before it happened to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't I have this knowledge before it happened? And I feel and I felt like that every time I see something like this, because I'm like, if I knew that you could have this clarity from the beginning of the dating phase, I wouldn't have spent my time and my effort and me in general with someone who was not aligned. But you know, that's also the pretty part of the breakups, that they make you notice and they teach you so much about yourself, about the things that you have to fix on yourself, and not fix, or maybe yeah, sometimes fix, but also like like the places, or like where is room for improvement inside of you, where is the room for improvement inside of you. And I think that's the most important nice, actually, I mean, it hurts, I know, but like the nice thing about breakups, that even though it hurts, even though it sucks, even though you feel like you will never get over that, even though you feel like you will never find someone else like that, or have a connection like that, besides that not being truth, once you get over this phase, you realize that actually this taught you so much about yourself, about how you build relationships with others, and about how much you have to better yourself, like to improve inside of your mental health, inside of your boundaries, inside of who you are. Do a lot of like shadow work, like introspection, you know what I'm saying? And as I said, even though it hurts, it's also a blessing. And sometimes like we, after breakups, we focus so much like on how much we lose when we are not together with someone, how much like literally like is our loss, and how much we are losing, and how much we're not getting after them, and how much like we focus on the like on like the bad probability or the bad possibility, like the possibility of things not going well. But when you are more like in your chakras, when your chakras are aligned, when you're like very calm, it's actually not truth. And I remember also that like after breakups, also like your friends, like the first thing that they say, because of course they're not feeling this, of course they care for you and they feel bad for you, but they are not feeling the grief of breaking up before even if they before have felt it. But like in the moment they are not, because of course they are not like the main character in that moment where you break up with someone. But like the first thing that your friends tell you is exactly that. And like when you first listen to that, it's like, you don't fucking care if, like, after this you'll feel better, or if it will go away because you're now feeling the pain. But actually there's so much truth on it. And I think that even though like in the beginning in the very, very beginning of the first week of the breakup, I was destroyed. I think right now I'm in a better much place where I really feel blessed that that happened for many reasons. But also I feel like it has taught me so much about what I'm really looking for in a partner. And I wouldn't be able to know that if it was not because that was the decision made. If that didn't happen. And sometimes I feel like we, because of attachment, we just focus on how much like the other person would have an impact on us, and how we wouldn't be able to move from there, because we think that actually the like all the love and all the care and all the good parts of the relationship were given by the other person. But if you think about it, they actually came from you. And I feel like that's why that's also the pretty part of being in a relationship and then unfortunately like breaking up, that it also teaches you that like the love you have to always seek is within yourself. And this is the part where we kind of don't know how to act. Even people jump from relationship to relationship because they don't know how to feel the void of feeling lonely. They don't know how to feel the void of dealing with themselves. Like they don't want to face themselves, and then they have to constantly like stimulate their brains either with things, external people, external experiences. And I think the beauty of breakups also is that they teach you how much you have to learn to be good with good with yourself. Why? Sorry. I just get so frustrated at the fact that I sometimes get my mouth to mumble, because I would say, yeah, it happens to me like only in English because it's my second language. No, it happens to me in Spanish as well. It sucks. Anyways, maybe it's anxiety. But anyways, as I was saying, so once you realize like how much you love to spend time with yourself, or actually when you realize that actually you hate spending time with yourself, like you need constant reassurance or like constantly being with someone in order to feel complete, then you know exactly where you like which are the places you have to work on, because if not then you repeat the pattern, and that sucks. But I think because of the breakup, I was not only feeling blessed about it happening and it showing me that what I want on a partner like next time and in my life in general, because I'm not looking for a partner for like, I don't know, a certain amount of time or like a limited time. I would like to find a partner for the rest of my life. And I think besides that, which is really important actually, and I'm really glad that I realized what I really want from someone as someone that would like to share their lives with me. I also realized that there are some things that help you going through the breakup, and even though maybe you've heard about them a lot of times, girl or boy, I don't know who's listening to me, but anyways, like even though you hear about this so much and it sounds so cliche and like a lot of people repeat it, it's real when you do it. Like, first of all, I think that one of the things that really helped me healing way faster than previous times in my life is zero contact. Zero contact, I think, once you realize, is like a great self-respect tool first, but second, a great way of you getting over someone, because you get out of your system the habit of the good morning text, the good evening, good night text, the constantly talking about your day with someone specifically, about someone constantly being in popping up like on your phone, the same name popping up with plans, or I don't know, like gossip, because that's super fun, or like memes or anything related to this person that got into your habit system, literally like in your nervous system, and they became kind of like family as your friends as well, but like, you know, in a partner side. And I think the beauty of cutting that is that literally you forget easier. Not forget, but like you get over that easier. Oh my god, sorry that I moved so much. Um I'm like this when I'm sitting. I need to move. But anyways, it's like the beauty of it is that you get over things easier because it's kind of like you realize you existed before this person, and once they're not longer there in your phone, in your different social media, like anywhere basically, you realize you will exist after that, like after this person. Like you keep existing and you keep being yourself and you keep having so much light inside of yourself. So it's not like this person made you different and special. No, they were just an add-on on your life, because that's how actually you have to perceive it. If you see it as your whole resource of source, not resource. If you see it as your whole source of happiness, then there's a problem. You have to go to therapy and work on that, because it's not normal. But if it was more of like someone who go with you on the way, like if they just like uh, in Spanish would be acompañar. I don't know in English, but it would be like accompany you. This person just goes with you through life, having you still your goals, the things you want to achieve, the things you want to do, purpose, goal. I said goals already. Purpose, commitment with yourself, following your values, following the things that you love to do. Actually, this person, if they go, especially with contact zero, with which I pray for it, I love it because it helps so much. Literally, you will continue having all of these nice things about yourself, and this person simply will be removed from your life, and you will continue to be the great person that you are, and you will continue to have the same goals that you have, because the other person was basically going with you while also focusing on their lives. I want to sneeze. Okay, I didn't. Maybe I didn't. Okay, so I think contact zero is the first step to getting over faster of your getting over your ex. Sorry. And the thing is that this is very related to the chill episode that I talked about like last episode. But anyways, if of course you deal with these people that say like, no, but like I would like to be friends, I'm able to be friends, the person who likes to be friends with you after a breakup, or after a dating phase, or after any type of relationship you had with someone, romantic relationship, is a person who doesn't care. Because when you do, it kind of like the feelings are so mixed. The feelings get so confusing, and like you never know, because it's not only friendship. This friendship offered after the breakup, or the ending things with someone you were dating, or anything related to romance that you had before. This friendship is not friendship. This friendship is literally like having benefits of a partner, but not being a partner. Like having the benefits of like the sex, the access to you, like many different benefits that don't include responsibility. And maybe the other person loves that, but the other person has so many feelings, and then they don't know what to do because they're confused, and it ends up being so wrong, and also like a lot of times very disrespectful towards you, because you know deep down of yourself that if you keep talking to this person, it keeps the door open to like a possibility of coming back together. And the other person knows that they are not coming back to you, they are not getting back together with you, but they like the benefit of you existing in their world. And I feel like that's really like a betrayal to yourself. And I know that people will argue, yeah, but we can be friends if we were exes, and we were like, if both are really like not like, you don't have feelings for each other in a romantic way, if you really got over each other, or you ended up hating kind of a little bit of each other, but you work as friends, it kind of works. It kind of can work. But in reality, like, humans are not as simple as that. Humans are not like they lose interest like one day or another. They are very complex live beings, and I feel like it's just lying to yourself, saying that like, oh yeah, we can be friends after like having something, and it can work only when both realize that, for example, if you were in a dating phase, if both realize, okay, I don't like you, you don't like me, that can be. But besides that situation, it's really hard. And in order not to get yourself involved in this moment of confusion, because I've been there, that's why I'm telling you, and that's why like this time that I'm literally like doing zero contact, not in order to manipulate, because that's also shitty, but in order to get over someone. When you go to the other, like, okay, let's be friends and whatever, it sucks. Like the mixed signals, like the mixed signs that you get all the time, the confusion, like the I don't know if you really love me or not, because actually you become friends after like breaking up, or you become friends after being after dating, and it's not like there's a big switch in the communication. It's not like they become colder. No, actually they keep doing the good morning thingy, or like keep being like, oh yeah, we can travel together, like they keep wanting to have the same romantic access to you, but without like putting a label on it. And it sucks. I trust me, it fucking sucks. It's horrible, it's awful, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, because it just keeps you in this loop of maybe we will one day be together, and it's not real at all. So my first advice for a breaking up period of your life is literally cutting them off. And of course, like you also have to sorry. And of course, you also have to consider that cutting people off sometimes is also good and respectful for you. If someone is proving you or telling you, basically, I don't want you in my life, or at least I want you, but like this part of you, like I don't want fully you. What makes you say like, yes, I will only give you the good parts, and then you don't have to deal with the bad parts? That's basically the message. So think about it when you want to keep being friends with your ex, or when you want to keep being friends with someone you dated and the feelings were intense, especially from your side, because most probably you are the one who are not communicating your boundaries, or not communicating what you really need or feel or think, in order to at least receive a breadcrumb from someone. So if you're going through a breakup, especially, don't do that. Like, I know you want to convince yourself that having a friendship, after all, it's nice. It's not true. You're gaslighting yourself. You're lying. Don't do that. Like, don't make that mistake. I've been there, and I will take your hand when I say this. It sucks. You will suffer. And if the breakup was, let's say, 5 months ago, you will still have 3 more months to go until you finally end things, but you still are hopeful. So at the end, instead of being a situationship or a relationship of 1 year, it ended up being of 2 years, and it sucks. So please don't do it. My next advice would be, when you're in a relationship, actually this is more of like being inside of a relationship, so like kind of take it as the before, if a breakup happens, okay? But don't base your life on the other person. Like, you have to focus on your goals, on what you want to achieve, or on where places you want to reach, places you want to go, places you want to visit. I don't know, things that fulfill like yourself, and you do just for yourself. Like, not thinking on a relationship. Like, with this I mean, like, not thinking as a relationship person, like you are like you're a fusion. You know what I'm saying? You have to keep having things around yourself that are only to fulfill you, to fill your soul, to fill your self-esteem. Let's say, in my case, for example, I love the cinema. I love watching movies. And I get to realize that like I kind of lowered a bit of the frequency that I went to the cinema when I was in my last relationship. And that's not being truth to myself, because I love it. And I just did it in order to do things that we both could be doing together. And actually, those things were more the things that this person wanted or liked, rather than the things that I only liked, then I would also like to keep doing. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, that's one point. So like for that, for example, don't do that. Like if you like going to the cinema, if you like, I don't know, like to go bouldering, if you like go swimming, if you like, I don't know, running, if you like different things that you like, if you like them, don't stop doing them because of your partner. Like don't try to have this perspective of you and your partner being one person, because you're not. Like you're two individuals who are wanting and willing to share your life together, like your lives together, but you're not one person together. Like you have to have your individuality, besides of course like having plans and goals together, because that's normal from relationships, but like you don't have to lose yourself in the way. And a lot of the times a reason for this is because when you do a life, or you create a life where with or without someone, especially in the romantic side, because you know how people create codependency and how people create attachment, and then when you need to leave it, because I mean one thing can be what I just said, but like the things that you see in the beginning of the relationship, but other times it can be, I don't know, abused, because it happens. You have to create a life where with or without them, you're good to go. You're good to go. And especially for women, like we need to understand that this is really important also when it comes to financial thing. Like it's fine if your partner wants to pay for things, it's okay. And women, I meant straight women, like it's my experience, so I cannot say about like the community women, but like when it comes to straight women, for example, it's fine if your partner wants to pay for a lot of things. Actually, I'm pro that, because like, what do you mean they earn more than us? And what do you mean they have better job positions? Okay, but even though they would like to pay for things and they would like to, like, you know, kind of cover the financial parts of the relationship, you never have to let yourself fully depend financially on your man. Like never, because unfortunately, like as well as emotionally, but especially financially, money holds power. I know that emotions as well, but like money holds power. And when you're with someone that holds the whole power, and I don't want to say it always happens, but it does sometimes, when this person is someone insecure and, I don't know, abusive or things like that, if they hold the whole power because they have the financial income and you are literally depending on them, they can really abuse you a lot, to the point that you of course want to run away, but you cannot, because you have no other way of surviving. So like really, this is an example of financial like dependency, but like I want to also like talk about like how this also happens with emotional side, when it comes to goals, when it comes to your life, when it comes to your routine, to the I don't know, your professional life, your time with your friends, time with your family. Don't create a life with your partner that without this person you don't have any other thing to do, and you literally would crumble. Like, don't do it, because this is exactly what will happen. Like the breakup comes, and once the breakup comes, you literally don't know what to hold on to, because you are far from your friends, you're far from your family, like you don't talk to them as much, you don't hang out with your friends, you don't do sports if you like them, you don't paint, you don't, I don't know, do a lot of things that like fill yourself so much with like literally fulfillment, like feeling like relieved that if you are not with this other person, or if you're not doing things with this other person, you are nothing. Like you base your whole life and personality and your whole happiness around someone, and that's really toxic. That's not healthy. That's really sad as well, because you are more than a relationship that you have. And this is why I say, like, after a breakup, it's a nice, like, this is a before thing breakup, to for the possibility of things not working out and ending up on a breakup, is to not forget that you exist, and if this breakup happens or not, you are still truth to yourself and you are not like crumbling and falling apart because someone left or you broke up with them because of many reasons, but you keep going with your life. I think this is something that especially this time has showed me so much, because I think I applied it in my last relationship where I still had goals. I still have like my routine, things that I like to do, things, places where I like to go, a community, my friends. Like I still have so many things, still have so many goals. Still, for example, the podcast that I always wanted to do it, and now I'm doing it. It's like I still have so many reasons to keep going, that even though my relationship didn't work out, even though my romantic side was like, it's not as I wanted it to be, but like it will, but like right now it's not as I wanted it to be because you cannot control it. I am fine, it's like, of course, I cried when it happened. I was sad when it happened. I was mad at some point, all the phases and all the stages of a breakup, but I was not completely destroyed to the point that I couldn't work, to the point that I couldn't like having projects, to the point that I could not keep learning the language, the German language. It's like I kept having all of these goals in my life, in my other areas of life. Also, I had my friends that I kept seeing them, like getting together with them because I love them, getting together with them when I was in a relationship. But like what I mean is like I didn't isolate myself, so I still had my life, but I had also a romantic relationship. And my advice with this is like, once you enter a relationship, try not to like fusion with your partner. Try not to want to be one, even though of course I know it's important that you act as a team, but like team have members. Team is not like a one ball, like a team is not like something like this. It's like a team has members. And the same way has to be with your partner, because this specifically also shows you that you are choosing someone. You're not depending on someone. You're choosing them. And with or without them, even though it hurts, you will be fine. So this is more of that before, and in case it happens, you still have a life. And it's really important. And as I said, I applied it to my last relationship. And even though things didn't work out, I really am accomplishing a lot of things on my other areas of life that I really like hack me for that, because it really shows me that I'm capable of a lot of things, and and I won't fall apart if a person does not want to be part of my life. Of course, this also happens with friends, because I will talk in another episode about how breaking a friendship is also so hard and hurts so much, at least in my case, because of how I perceive friendships. But like, I know that if that happens, I will be sad, I will grieve, but I will be fine. And I think that's really important to to apply to your life. So if you have the chance to do it, please do. Like, don't get into a relationship with the simple goal of being like with the simple goal that your partner is your everything, and then you don't have, or you are not anything else besides them. It's really toxic, and it's not kind of real love. It's kind of like obsession. It's not good, actually. I wouldn't recommend it because I've been there as well. The other thing besides that, I think, is when you go through a breakup, you need to also be aware that even though it hurts, and even though you might feel like a victim, because it's easier to feel like a victim, you have a responsibility in the situation in a way. Not always, and sometimes in some parts especially, or in the majority of the decision, you might not have it. It's fair. For example, when you've been physically abused, for example, that's like can I justify the fact that he or she punched you? No. But of course, maybe what I can say that it was your responsibility in a way is that you stayed, and this is something that I think it would be nice if you like evaluated, if you're going through a breakup, like to think about it, that breakups teaches us things where we have to work on within ourselves. Like what the other person did, it's on them. At the end, what they did could hurt you and could meant a lot of things, but at the end, like the things that we should like focus on are within ourselves. Like what was my role in this? What was my responsibility in this? And like with breakups, not only, of course, you will want to cry, you will want to express, you will want to feel. It's totally normal, but also take this moment to reflect what was my role in this. Like how would I be able to maybe not repeat this pattern, or how would I be able to maybe show myself a little bit more love? What will make me what will would what would allow me to find a partner that maybe gives me more reassurance, because based on my values and who I am, I would need it more. And then like I would recommend to take your breakup as a time of my god, sorry. I would like to take I would like to advise to take this breakup as a time of self-reflection. Like reflect on yourself, reflect on the things you would need to work on to have then better experience next time. And I say this because sometimes we are so focused on like because we're mad, because we're frustrated, because we're sad, because we're like we didn't want it to go the way it did, that we focus so much on like the other person slash how could you get a reaction from the other person or stuff like this, that we would, if rather than reflect on ourselves, go and start dating other people. We would go and start partying all the time to avoid it. We would go and jump into another relationship. We would like have rebounds, and we would have all of these things that literally are just escapism. Yeah, escape. That you just want to escape, you know? And we even go and do drugs. Like I don't, because I don't like drugs and I don't like alcohol and I don't like cigarettes. But that's a personal thing. It's fine if you do it. I don't care. In my case, I just don't like it. But people tend to go to those external stimulus so then they can have at least a little bit of dopamine, and then they don't have to feel the pain and go through grief. But really, instead of doing that, and that actually shows a lot how much, and it's so nice to feel how much you're growing, is to self-reflect after the breakup. I know that the first instinct for many reasons could be to jump to another person, to prove, it's a very ego thing, but like to prove, oh, I got over you faster, you know? I went to the other person, I'm dating another person, so look at that loser, you know? Like that's kind of like the vibe sometimes when you're very mature. And even when you're super old but still immature, you fall into that because you would like to show that nothing can break you, because it's a very ego thing. But reality is that at the end of the day, that's very empty, and that actually makes you feel very lonely at the end, and very like hypocritical, I would say, kind of like fake to yourself, like lying to yourself, gaslighting your feelings. And it's really like bad, because at the end, like, you're just postponing the grief, you're just postponing the feeling of like losing someone, but also like you're just missing the opportunity to work on yourself. And therefore, when time passes and you keep repeating patterns and you're like, but why this keeps happening to me? And it's because you don't even give time for you to think, time for you to like evaluate, to like be critical about what you did, about the things that you did, about how were you a partner, good or bad, but like the way you were a partner, you know, which is also important, and we learn from that. So like my advice in here, going through a breakup, would be really like evaluate yourself and your role. How was your role inside of the relationship, but also how could you maybe learn things from what just happened. And that involves maybe your self-esteem, maybe putting boundaries, maybe your self-love, maybe I don't know, identifying what you would need in a relationship. What would you need from your partner? What is compatibility to you? What are you looking for? What are your intentions while dating? And I think sometimes we just go to dating like so blindsided. We go just like because of the fun parts, or we go because we just want to like experience. And once you are there, you realize actually, no, actually, I don't just want experience. Actually, I want to build something. Actually, I want to have something long term. I want to have a partner that is with me in the bad moments as well. I want someone who sees me fully, who's not all only enjoying like the good parts of me. I want someone who also like would hold me when I'm crying and not like escape or avoid my emotions or their emotions, you know? And I think that sometimes we just like jump so fast into other into external like dopamine literally, that we forget our own selves, and we forget and we actually missed on the big opportunity we have when we break up with someone to heal things, to improve things, to analyze ourselves, to check where we should improve, and things that would actually make us not only better people but also better partners. So because I don't believe in the 100% evil and 100% victim. I think, of course, there's blame, there's like guilt and responsibility, and at the end of the day, all of us have responsibility. That doesn't mean we cannot be victims, but at least in the average relationship, romantic relationship, we have responsibilities, and it's in our control to question that, to analyze that, and to change that. And I think once you do that, you also kind of start realizing, and it helps you with getting over someone as well. You start realizing how much you have to offer, like how much you have to give. And that's a blessing, because then you notice it's not only that you realize that for yourself, but then how of a fool of or a little bit of a fool can other person be not to notice and not to value that. And I think that's the main goal when it comes to breakups, to notice at least our values, but also like to know what are we expecting from a partner, and to grow and to better ourselves. And I think it's a great opportunity to do so. I feel like most of the times people don't want to deal with that, because that means growing up. People are scared to grow up because it's out of our comfort zone, but it's a really great opportunity for us to do so. And trust me that it helps so much with getting over someone. Like, it helps so much, you have no idea. I did it. I say it because of experience, because of psychology videos, like because of many reasons, but like it does help. So if you are going through a breakup, like I would really suggest you work on yourself a lot. Like, focus on yourself. I know it's cliche, as I said before, but it's really true. When you do it, when you really do it, when you really like put it in on practice, oh my god, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. And I say it because I've been this 18-year-old, 20-year-old girl that was suffering so much for these assholes. And now that I'm in this position, I'm like, literally what I had to do was to work on myself. Like, that's everything I had to do in order to grow, and in order to realize that that was not needed. But anyways, this was the episode of today. I don't think in the next episode I will talk that much of breakups, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know, but like probably not, because I'm lately like talking a lot about that. But I would also like to talk about other topics. I would actually like to talk about social media, maybe even like self-image and body dysmorphia, because I've been there. But anyways, we're gonna see. If you have any topic that you would like me to talk about, just like write me through social media. You can find me as Natalia Tinedo. I say it in a very, very Latino way, because when I try to say it like in English, people keep saying like Natalie, and I'm not Natalie, I'm Natalia. Okay, Natalia, like that. And I hate when people call me Natalie, because I'm not Natalie. And Natalie is very American, and I'm not American. So, sorry. But, yeah, you can just find me like Natalia Tinedo in social media. Write me in the comments and tell me what would you like me to talk about, and I'm super happy to do it. I actually am doing this podcast because I really like to talk a lot, so it's fine if you want me to be your friend, to advise you with something Anyway, um yeah, like, actually relationships are hard. That's a part of life. But anyways, I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, or a good day, week, or month. I don't know when you're watching this or listening to this, but I really hope you have a great whatever, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.